Yo, yo, yo. Check, check, check. What's up? What's up? Good morning. I kind of lost my voice a little bit, but I think we're back here. We're good to go. Um, there's a 2 minute warning, by the way. It's a little on the later side. I'm thinking VYNE looks the best here. Since this is like a, since this is like a, what do you call it? Cheaper stock. I'm gonna use my Webull platform for this one. It's actually been a full 2 weeks since I traded something below $1. There was a stock yesterday that came below $1, but I didn't even look at it actually. It was halted up and ripped up to like 85 cents to 95 cents. So VYNE, which gave a nice big green candle early at 8:30. Since then, we've had a red to green, and then we've been mostly sideways. This one definitely has potential to break the pre-market high, which is at 80 cents, 10 cents away. And, that could potentially lead us to a move over $1. So for now, we got lows here in the most recent consolidation around 68 cents and a high point of 72. So I'm actually going to watch it early here just in case we see some good volume and it's able to break out right away. So for those of you tuning in on YouTube, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Time. There's a couple seconds to the open here. So as usual, let's be disciplined. We had close to 68 for lows. So there's a breakdown below our current level here. So a bit of a scratch trade there. For those people on YouTube, I have this extra window, which is showing more of like a live trade. I want to see how the third candlestick will look. By the way, for those of you who are in the Discord, right? Man, have you guys heard from Shay? Shay, are you listening on YouTube? If you're listening on YouTube, we miss you. I don't think we've seen you in a while. This one can move fast. It seems like if the red to green setup fails, the risk is about 3 cents, which is pretty high. So I want to be in here quickly if we do attempt it, and if it's not like a quicker trade, I think it could be worth getting back out at the break even. Even something here at the lows, I'll give a try and kind of watch that break even type of trade. Yeah, 67. RCLV, ADTX. There's some others being mentioned as well. I still want to keep an eye here at least to minute 5 because, just in case. Let's see. We've also seen RZLV get mentioned. Yeah, I was watching over some older videos yesterday with the chat room, and like I didn't see a couple of these names in like a couple of days, right? Or like a week or two. Again, there's like a 2 cent risk here, which is not great for the trade. Our new candlestick is still about 2 minutes out. It's definitely going to be worth the shot though, but the risk is there for sure. Yeah. Okay, ADTX, how are we doing? Yeah. There's no obvious one yet, it doesn't seem like. RZLE 340 is a good, like a big level there. YCBD, um, this one looks a little bit better, perhaps. I'm actually gonna throw out a starter here, YCBD. The lows, we'll see how well it holds up relative to the lows. Only 600 share size. It's on my other screen here, so for those of you on YouTube, you'll only see the P&L, but small position. 5 minute YCBD. Sometimes when I don't have the 5 minute, I kind of feel a little blind. So on my other screen here, I only have a 1 minute for the other stock, but I added the 5 minute there. There's a bit of a boost. 30. Okay. New high by a couple cents. Let me pull it up on screen here. You know what? I don't think I started my screen recording. This thing's at 30. It's pushing. Looking to recycle some shares here. YCBD. It looks pretty good. Looking to hold here. And as long as it doesn't stop me out. So my risk here is only about 5 cents. Not a massive stop. And watching here for the red to green again. If this is going to be the stock of the day, if it's going to be strong, we should see 30, 35 again, like nothing. So I'm going to sit back, relax, and let the stock do its thing. There's 30, 31, 32. So that type of trade, I had 2,000 shares. I gotta still take more size right there, right? Limited downside risk, high upside potential. Gotta slam the buy button there. Got to slam it. There's a new 5-minute candlestick now. But I think it's still worth watching. I'm now holding like 57 shares at 22. Looking to recycle again because why not? The second time here will take more size. You know, of course, the key is going to be the setup not failing. The circumstance slightly different now that there's a new candlestick on the bigger time frame. But we're still in this like 1 minute pullback here. If we look at the 1 minute chart. I don't think I got filled the entire thing here. Oh. Again, the risk is a 5 minute setup where like it drops down to like $2, so you got to be careful and just looking to respect the stop. Didn't get filled the entire thing this time still, which maybe I should have just kept buying, you know. We got 1300 size, which is decent size. Not what we wanted there. If it's strong, it should give us a new high of day. It should give us a new high of day if the 1 minute candlestick makes a new high right here over 31. Big Steve, are the Bulls alive? It could be worth adding for me here over 30, although a bit of a higher risk entry again, but still, if it's going to continue to 40 here, that's where I can at least get the size. If not, I can try to keep it break even. But we're like lingering here this time, so watching closely and looking to have a trailing stop here. So over 30, I'm going to add, no questions about it. I'm going to add over 30 here. And I need to see a swift move. There it is. Can we see it? There's a seller at 30,000 shares. Damn these sellers. All right, cutting that trade. Out at 20. So this is the risk of trying to break out, is that, you know, if there's like a seller like that, we kind of get stuffed right at the level. So I'm out for like a 3-cent loss there with 2,000 shares in the ad. I'll try it again. Smaller size this time. Can we see through 30? Come on, the seller's coming down. There it is. Now, can we see 40? This has no reason to not make a new high here. And we're rejecting. Okay, great. All right, I'm on the sidelines for now. So the 1 minute candle in this range is rejecting pretty hard. I'm going to give it a sec, maybe wait till above 40 and then the next dip, because we're seeing more chop. It's a nice setup. So, you know, again, this is the risk of the breakout though, right? You know, if you're in low, you don't have to worry about that like 5-cent drop right there. It's trying, but it's kind of coming down still. 38 to 28 right there. The 5 minute candle also having a topping wick. So it hopefully tries again. Can we try again for 40? It definitely doesn't feel like that stock that just keeps going, you know, like it feels like we're seeing early resistance. We should have already been at 50 here, like in my opinion, but nothing wrong with being patient, I suppose. So our 5 minute candlestick having some trouble. The only thing we have going for us is that there's less volume on this pullback relative that the candlestick is newer, right? It still has 3 more minutes. That's like the only thing that we have going for us here. It looks like it's fighting for its life. I'm going to take 100 shares here. Way smaller position just to kind of see if it does end up holding. The key here is if we see a red to green pattern, we don't need it to like rip to 26 and then, you know, right back down to 16 off this bear flag. I don't trust it yet, which is why I'm not in with size yet. So I'm kind of just waiting. But I can see it potentially happening. Us curling back up to 30 again. Just a little tough to take the full size right now without any confirmation. So we had two good dips early. One of them we didn't really have we didn't get filled for some reason, which was strange because we were right there and I'm buying above our price. Like I should have been in. And then we had two breakout trades that did not work out. We got chopped out of both of them. Although we did end up going up. Hmm. What is it gonna be? I'm going to add another couple hundred shares. It's still hard to tell if it's going to be strong. We're seeing some buying, but we're fluctuating here. Does it have what it takes to sustain the red to green here? KB, are you still alive? I'm not interested in selling unless it gets up to like 35, 38. Prove to us that you can, yeah, just like that. Prove to us that you can do something special and pull a good red to green out of your hat. Any dips here I want to take aggressively. I'm going to size up all the way if I can get a good dip again. 69 is the halt up in case it does something really crazy. So I had 1,500 shares there, 22, selling 35 and more here. Christ, bro. I need more size. Give me a sweet dip, please. I need to recycle more shares. Give the pastor a chance. Holding only 115 shares now and kind of watching and waiting. The halt is at 280. So I'm gonna just be patient here. I'm gonna keep waiting. The key for this stock right now, we just broke over high of day at 35, right? Under no circumstances should this drop to like 24, 23 again. Like if we're to see that price is done. We're in the new range. It needs to keep going. It needs to just hold up its pullbacks and do what it needs to do here. And it seems like it's a tighter range, which is exactly what's happening here. So I need to adjust for that. Right, in all the areas I have the intuition, I'm just not taking the size. Still, after 3 or 4 weeks. Big Steve. On this next dip, I don't care. I'm slamming size. It'll have to be me taking size or me stopping out at a reasonable stop. No in between. Either I take the size and it's a great trade, or I stop out at my risk in the trade and it's a great trade. No in between. No in between. Hold up. Shows something a little better. A little better. Again, there's also a new candlestick, which, kind of makes it a little dicey, but similar to that first pullback, we're in a pretty bullish place still. So we should have no trouble of holding up. I'm getting a message I can't really look over. The chat room is not pulled up. I have a YouTube. The days of just hitting 5K size and not feeling nothing, I tell you. And not feeling a thing. Again, the key for us in this consolidation is to not be down there at like 23, 24, 25. Like, can we hold up our current levels and essentially make new highs? We have everything going for us on the 5-minute setup. On the 1-minute setup, everything looks good. The volume looks good. The price looks good. Everything looks good. It's a matter of the stock holding up and continuing. Well, we see the double bottom. Risking about 150 here and watching for the double bottom to curl back up. Why is my heart beating for 5,000 shares, bro? This is it's so funny to see. Like, it just is insane. My heart is like racing for 5,000 shares here with a 3-cent stop. Like, this, I should feel nothing. I should feel nothing in this trade. Like, bro, I must be getting old or something because. But anyhow, so I'm watching the double bottom and looking for the move back up. cold is killing me here, man. Feel like I can barely speak. KB, where are those bulls? Will we see a nice move here? Will we see a nice move? What we want to see is the 5 minute candlestick closing with a bottoming wick. There's about a minute left in the candlestick. Will we close with a bottoming wick? If we do, it's a very good sign of bullishness here towards the new candlestick on the 5 minute and the potential red to green over 50. So right now I'm not interested in selling until we see like 45, 50 at least minimum, because the stock is telling me that we should see a new high here. KB, are you alive? It's just so interesting to feel this type of way, like as if like I haven't done this size 1,000 times already, you know? Literally. It's like you're relearning and taking like baby steps or something. Here's the push starting. Watching for the volume. KB, where are those bulls, brother? Do I hear 45, 50? Do I hear 60 potentially? Where are those bulls? Can we see the 5 minute candlestick make a new high here? We're seeing some big bids. But we do have a small topping wick on the 5. I'm stopping out of the trailing stop there. So only got half at 43 area and then the rest 35, 34. Do I want to try it again? I don't know. Maybe with a small position this time. But that's the type of trade we really want to see give the follow through, where I finally have the size. Although, as mentioned 2 days ago on the live stream, I needed that type of size in not just one of the 3 trades, but 3 out of the 3 trades, right? That way I give myself the best odds of like having a good day. Because even if that setup had failed, like it would have been, hey, we're now finally taking sides on the third setup, which is just kind of late in the day already, late in the move. I'm gonna watch it here again just in case, but you know, gotta be careful. We should have made a new high there. The last setup we did also see 2 red candle on the 5 minute before curling up. So maybe that's what we're seeing here. I'm not in. Probably should have been in. I gotta also try to be careful here not to give back too much. What's gonna be difficult to take here is a midway trade because I think it's best for me to just keep watching and just kind of see what it does. Maybe I can start with 100 shares again and then kind of go from there because it could surprise us again if this is like the real stock of the day and it's the type of stock to go tilt to $3. Then these setups should be working here, but gotta keep it tight if it doesn't go, if it doesn't curl, because we can easily see 220 if it's a little weaker. Very quick push to 38. Looking to add aggressively if I get the chance. Adding 36, 37. Can we see 40 plus with a trailing stop here? Does it have what it takes? Or is this a bluff? In at 35 with 2,500 shares, not a big position, but you know, watching to see if it does something here. Ah, come on, you can do something. If it goes through 45, I want to pull out my big size block, which is 4,500 shares, and try. Can we hold up and retest? We're seeing resistance lower than the highs. So more than likely, if it goes through 40, we should see high of day pretty easily. Like 43 should guarantee high of day here. Which means I can try the add, but I've been 0 for 2 on the breakout trades. Will I be 0 for 3 with size? If I am, it's not going to be good. So maybe just a small size add. Hold the line, curl back up. 37, do I hear 39.40 again? I'm thinking to just add 1,200 at 42 because if I add 5,000 there and it doesn't go, I'm going to lose too much too quickly. So if I see 42 here, I'm buying. And I'm looking to manage my risk. As usual, remember, day trading is risky. So if, I'm in, and there's 39. Instant loss. Instant loss. Instant loss. Oh, it was worth the shot. And there's the risk. I'm 0 for 3 on the breakouts, bro. We didn't quite make the new high on the 5-minute candlestick. That was at 43. But over 40 still getting stuffed. Well, it was a decent hypothesis, but slap in the face, brother. Slap in the face. This is where Ross would say you gotta put your money where your mouth is, right? You gotta, if you like the setup, you gotta take it and have the tight stop. So at 42 add out at 38 right there, which again, we're back down at the lows for the fifth, sixth time. Like, how many times do we need to come down, you know? So is this the last time we're coming down? It looks like it might be, because there's 25. This is where I walk away from the stock right here, because, you know, showing too much weakness. I don't think I'll take any red to green trades here. Is it is hmm. Bro, if it crawls all the way up here, bro, I swear if it goes up here. Oh, you freaking, if it does the red to green off of this. All right. These stocks have a way of like just, you know, sometimes just trying to mess with you. I thought that was going to rip right to 40 for a second. I'm like, whoa. 35 from 25 is a pretty big bounce. PCSA? Oh man, I've missed this one entirely. Well, this is the hyper scalping kind of stock here. YCBD I'll bring to the other side. This one is high risk, high reward for sure. This is already the third, fourth halt going up. Yeah, it looks like I missed a train here, so the most I can do is take 100 shares for the culture, and that's it. Yeah, it's been hitting the halt scanner, everything, but you know I've just been so locked in there. YCBD is at 33, and so if it bear flags into a red to green, it could still be good. You just don't like to see us come back down to that same level of support so many times after holding already. Like the new high should be imminent, should be guaranteed. But we're rejecting every time at 40. We're not even getting to see 50. So it's like a range of 32, 33 to 40, which is not really a great range, you know, 8 to 10 cents max. Resumption time, by the way, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. I'm definitely not looking to risk anything at all here. So the smallest hotkey that I have with market orders is, I think, 300 shares, which is enough to actually get blazed here because the price range is already at $8. So it might not even be worth getting in at all. The next hotkey down, like, can I make a hotkey in time for 100 shares? Let's see. Settings, trade, hotkeys, hotkey settings. I need 1 and 2. Where is it? Damn. Shift. Shift 1. Test 2. 100 shares. Done. Hotkey. Test 1. 100 shares. Done. Okay. Time 34 seconds. All right. 100 shares, looking at the dip and rip here. And then I got to take a bathroom break. The bathroom is calling my name. Calling Sweet RT. 10 seconds. 791. Here we go. Oh, nah. That's too much risk for me, bro. False halt down and back up $1 share, though. Anybody who got in there, you know, you have the heart of steel because that was tough to jump in. I'll leave it alone. Here's a halt down. The perfect place for a bathroom break. I'll be back in a flash. It's halted up again. The dip out of the halt. I think that's it for me, though. I'm shutting it down. After 2 max loss days, yesterday I was max loss again. Kept, bro, holy shit, man. I don't even want to think about it, but I started off red 400, went green 400. Then between the two accounts, I gave, bro, it's this thing, again, sizing up so late in the day. Gave back everything in 3 trades from plus 400 to red 220, and I was red 220 in the other account, or 200, something like that. Like I, $400 max loss, kind of like back at the lows of the day, and I was done. And then Big Steve, man, Big Steve, you gotta take just a little bit of this blame, at least 1% of it. Big Steve called me, and before you know it, I'm trading with Big Steve on the phone on a resumption, and I get cooked. I get murdered. Down $900 on the day. Just disgusting, man. So it's 2K in 2 days, which is that I'm actually, if I have to like guess my P&L, I'm gonna be red on the month, like I don't know, at least like 3K, which is just terrible, which is just absolutely ridiculous, especially being that we had this month like 5 days with stocks like this, or 4 days with stocks that just kind of, you know, hyper scalping kind of stocks, right? What is interesting though is that I feel like the slower moving stocks I'm like getting way better at. We haven't been seeing much hyper scalping stocks. And keep in mind that the ones we've been seeing, they've all been under the context of halts going up. We haven't really seen one of them that just traded candlesticks, really. And in these situations of halts, there's no excuse, because we know what we should be doing and what to trade, how to manage risk. The issue I've been having is just putting out the risk out there, right? Taking the size, like seeing those areas where it looks good and kind of hesitating, has been the issue. Seeing something be so volatile again after so long, almost like a little bit of stage fright, right? So there's a lot of good things, but there's still some things, like, that we have to like shake off, and like confidence wise, rust wise. But it is good to know that we're doing better at the slower moving stocks, which is what we've been seeing most of. I think penny stocks, we can always do well there. We just have to be patient. And a lot of those stocks have also been slower moving into the open. We haven't seen them in like a good month, I'd say, consistently. But like about 3 weeks to a month ago, we saw more penny stocks coming regularly into the open. Um, a messy year here for sure, but a lot of things to look forward to into the new year. The year that I thought I was going to make over $1 million in my sleep, and I'm here in the slums. You know how powerful that is? Like, coming into this year, I knew I was going to make $1 million, and then the strategy just gets cooked overnight, literally. A nuclear bomb is dropped onto our strategy, and we've all had to start making adjustments, because it's either you adjust into holding longer, shorting, some people are even swing trading. It's either you adjust or you die, right? There's no in between. Because and it's so funny, we went to this day trading conference, a couple of us from the team house, and we had some traders who were even bigger than us at the time. Guys like Jack Kellogg and the Laptop Legend. Some of these guys are like famous on Twitter, if you're on Twitter. Um, Edu Trades, all these good traders, Kyle Williams, and they're telling the audience like, hey, like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the bomb comes, because it's gonna come. And we're there listening to it, but obviously, you never think it's gonna be you or your strategy, or whatever the situation is, and then, until it was us. And then uh yeah, Big Steve, I'm now seeing your message. But Yeah, it turned out, hey, our strategy it needed to be adjusted, right? So it definitely, you're not starting from zero because you have a lot of trading experience and you understand candlesticks, price action, and discipline. But it does take time. In your mind, it feels like it should take one day, but it does take time. So a pretty good resumption there. It's now dipping. That's a pretty big boost up. 780 seems to be holding. It held the first time. Will it hold again? It held again, but it needs to boost up now. Can we see $9? If not, it's probably gonna come down. I don't like that dip a third time. So can we see over 850? Over 850. Rip to the moon. It's taking a long time to do it if it's gonna go. I definitely would have been back out. Yeah, it's just it took too long, like those. I mean, it's a resumption trade, right? It needs to be quick. People are still buying it though, right? It's bouncing again here. See, these are the trades that piss me off, right? Like it fails. It had everything to go. It fails to stop me out, and then it would have went right there, like just a slap in the face. Yeah, definitely. A year ago I'd be here 1,500 shares, 2,000 shares, taking every single one of those trades. A day like today, I can't risk the gains for this, man. This is too much of the Wild West. There's a lot of risk here. If you're one wrong trade, you're red, you're back to flat. This does make me wonder, like, will we see more stocks like this without the halts? Because then, if we do, like, hyper scalping starts again tomorrow. Granted, you can definitely still do it here too. We're getting a Santa Claus rally here in small caps to end the year with some strong stocks. Ah, man. Okay, I'm out of here. The people on the live stream, I know you guys like the chat to stay on. But the thing is that there's a chat room and I'll be in the chat room. So for me, there's like no need to leave on the live stream. Is my head blocking the other one? Oh, yeah, it was. Shoot. I gotta slide this over maybe. Maybe we make it smaller like that and then extend the scanner a little bit like this. I think that looks maybe a little better. Yeah. The pastor signing out, I think, here. I wonder if I need to buy more shares of Netflix. It's still a little early because, we're in pretty much at the bottom of this drop, but we're looking to like double and maybe triple our size in the trade, but PCSA back at $8. Other stocks that we're watching at. Hold up. Let's see. UNH, how are we doing? It's doing okay. It's doing all right. 44 highs. I really had wanted to see back over 30. Was it 38, 39? We're kind of right there. We got to 40s, 44, which is good. This one is doing all right. How's Bitcoin doing? We have some Bitcoin exposure too. Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin looking all right. You know, sometimes for me, I don't like to buy too early for the double bottom, but I think I'll probably add. I mean, even if it does go lower for me, all it's gonna do is just allow me to buy more. You know, because I'm not looking to retire tomorrow, right? So if it goes down lower, it doesn't mean anything. Assuming it's coming back up. If it doesn't come back up, then it means it's a loss in this type of context because you know Bitcoin is such a large part of the overall trading experience now. It's as in it's legitimate, right? Solidified. So I think I'll probably add on this one. PCSA still trying. Bitcoin. All right, looks like the mighty might keep going, so there's some other stocks that we're also looking at. We had some shares of RKLB, which has done really well. We haven't really had any losses swing trading really. We've had break-even trades. We sold Lululemon flat, and I already told you guys about the Tesla position, um, which I think was maybe my most disappointing swing trade of the year. Granted that we did buy back at 295 and sold up at like 390. We kind of had 270 average with 3 times the size, and we sold that position flat, which I knew was taking a risk, like selling it to buy back lower. 1 week later we're at 360, literally 7 days or 6 days later. That one was a tough pill to swallow, but luckily we got the dip again when it came back down. Yeah, Rocket Lab. This one I sold up at 60 from like 41 average, like 57 I think exit. This is a really nice trade. But yeah, swing trading, swing trading, man. But you need to be in like good swing trading communities. Like our community is pretty decent, but obviously we're more day trading. Shout out to the guys who do post and talk about their swings. Um, Tim and those guys, they'll talk a lot about what they're looking at. Mighty, some others as well. So there's like there's a small segment here, where we have like the swing trading chat where people will have some conversations. But we're definitely not like an expert swing trading community by any means. And as usual, there's always risk. We don't copy trade anybody. You have to make sure that you do your own research. And ultimately, the way how I utilize the chat is if I'm looking at something for a potential trade and it's looking good, and other people are also looking at the same thing. For me, that's more so of what I look at rather than hey, someone called out a swing trade, I'm just gonna go buy. Like that's basically just gambling. You might as well close your eyes and just hit the buy button, right? Choose black or red and close your eyes at that rate. So we still want to make sure we do our own research, our technical analysis, everything that would go into us taking a trade, and always remember our stop loss, because even if the swing trade does go against us, it doesn't mean we need to hold the stock down to zero. But instead, hey, this thing is now at a place where it's a little weak, just like a day trade. We're cutting the stock here, even though it's a longer time frame of days, weeks, and months. But yeah, so Lululemon we missed out on. I think I had like 390 shares at 71, which was kind of high because I needed to be in at like 65 on this stock. If we go to the 1 day, yeah, I would have been red on Reali. It's this one would have been close if I was to keep holding it, because I'd have been down like $10 a share, which would have been close to $4,000 red in the trade, which is not so bad. But the thing is, would have been us being at the very low of the consolidation. The very low was 59, and we came down to 60. It would have been a matter of like not cutting this on this day, you know, and watching the seafood curl up. This would have been a close one, man. It's literally like a day trade here, right? Like, you're stop at the low of the support, and if it breaks down, then you're out. Yeah, it's kind of a close one. And it took another like 2 weeks to really give this move here. So from 71 to, what's the high here? 1105. But it looks good to fill some gap here to the 200 EMA. UNH, surprisingly, at the 200 EMA, we kind of had earnings. The earnings were okay, and we still kind of rejected it. That one, I wasn't looking for profits at the 200 EMA. I'm still holding that one till maybe 400 plus because of the circumstance of the stock, of us, coming down how we did. But over time we'll see what it does. But healthcare here in America is insane, right? For people who are living abroad where it might be free, this country is very stifling when it comes to certain things. Insurance wise, everyone is being overcharged, and so the insurance companies are also being overcharged, and they'll pass that price on back to us, the consumers. And so if you ever go to the hospital or clinic, the price that they'll bill you for something so simple. I remember I was a little kid, I went for something, right? Like, this is like way back in like 2009. I think I spent a week in there. It's like $30,000. I mean, it's insane, the price that, like, and I didn't even have a surgery or anything, The price that man, it is insane, the country and the capitalism style of things. Even car insurance too. And I had this issue where a headlight on one of the cars was damaged, and so you take it to the repair shop that the insurance company themselves recommended, and the headlight has a scuffle on it that can easily be repaired for maybe $150 max. Instead, the car repair shop is changing the entire headlight, housing everything, which would be $4,000 for the insurance. And what they're doing too, they're keeping that headlight to use on a different car to make even more in their margins. So like, there's no honor in business, there's no honesty in business, and then it's being thrown back onto the consumer, which is us, and it keeps going. You know, if that repair shop is doing that, every shop is doing that, or at least most of them, right? Half of them even, which is a lot of businesses. Just so they can make more money, they're not doing honest business, and that's part of the issue. So, if you want to use the word hedge as a consumer, I need to then buy back these same companies that are strong companies, so that my money doesn't just continue to evaporate and instead it can grow, right? Because once their revenue goes up, the share price goes up, and I make a little bit of something on the back end. So at least I'm not at a deficit here, paying hundreds of dollars a month for the insurance I'm paying and stuff like that. Car insurance, you know, $400 a month. This. It starts to get kind of crazy when you look at all of it, right? And so a lot of times here I think about how the average person is doing, like the people who are not traders and like the business owners. It must be a tight. I mean, I see it. I obviously can see it with whether it's people around me, friends, stuff like that. It's just kind of tough out here, man. So even when in the market here we're having a slower year, we're very grateful for the opportunities, nevertheless, because the one thing that this market will guarantee us is opportunities. It's up to us to capture the trades, and from there you know, we can really build up nicely, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, as we become more and more consistent. But shutting it down. Take care, stay safe, stay green. I a little bit of a rant there, right? Swing trading, insurance, healthcare. YCBD 30K. So yeah, for the people who do talk smack, the reality is that they're here because there is nowhere better else to go. That's just the truth. Um, there's nobody else that's this transparent, that's this real. Okay, the people ask for the P&L to come back on the screen. Honestly, shout out to Marcelo. Marcelo is a good guy. When we have our conversations, I'll have to we always like listen to each other, right? If it's good constructive criticism. If anybody says nonsense, it's just nonsense. But the mighty was like, "Yo, RT, bro, I think maybe you're like doing a little too much, brother." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know what, man? That okay, that makes sense, right?" So the people who are here like going crazy in the comments, you can always leave. We never force anybody to be here. If you want to be here, you can stay. But if you don't like how we do things, I can recommend you to Warrior Trading. A guy that makes 50,000 in one day. That way you can see trading at one of the highest levels. Now it'll cost you 5 grand, but better to pay 5 grand than to be here complaining, brother. You know what it is too, because I don't look at the YouTube chat. I haven't banned anybody in a long time. What I have to do, okay, this is what I'll do right now. I'm gonna go through the comments and ban everybody who's like, it's been a long time since I've done that. Hold up. All right, let's see who's getting sent to the depths today. Let's see. The benefit of a 9 to 5, even though it's a scam. The benefits of a 9 to 5, even though insurance is a scam, it can keep you from losing all your life savings. I suppose. I suppose. Uh, uh, yeah, that sounds like good math. Red 1200 minus 900 plus 500. Yeah, that sounds like good math right there. Yeah, this is my biggest red week in a long time with the 2 red days. We haven't had a max loss day in a good time. uh, for the people who are here recently, like me being down that kind of money in a grand scheme of time is like very, very, negligible, even for the money that I've made to this point. And people also forget that like we have multiple streams of income. Like, I don't really like to talk too much finances because you've put too much out there. But financially, we're in a place where we don't have to worry about anything for years, 5, 10 years even. Now, if you have a family and you have like 3, 4, 5 kids, if I had 3, 4, 5 kids and maybe like 2 or 3 mortgages at the current interest rate, then I'd have a problem for sure. If like I'm not seeing a really high income every time, all the time. I've made over 6 figures this year, even with my trading being this low. Like, but again, we don't need to get into finances. When I look at the amount I've made this year, though, relative to prior years, like it I spoke about this before, right? There's been traders in our chat room since back in 2021 who've had months of 30K a day every day for months on end. And then when things slowed down, they dropped down to 1K a day. And back then, a lot of our chat room were making like $300 a day, $600, $800. And we're there asking him like, how in the world are you like complaining about making 1K a day, right? But when you zoom out and like he shows you his calendars of all the 30K days he's had. This is a guy who traded through GameStop that was already like a seasoned trader, right? So he dominated that time and then dropped down to 1K a day. Is when I look at my overall earnings on the years, like that's kind of the feeling I get. It's like, bro, like next year for sure we have to like making over 6 figures is decent, but it's like when you've seen like crazy numbers, it feels like it's like nothing. Like it's like, what am I doing in my life here? Like, so for next year for sure. I mean, not even next year, but as we continue to push forward, really, the goal is to always improve and to see progress because we already know what it is, right? We've shown our calendars and stuff like that a ton. Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. I think this is the first fight Jake Paul will lose because he's fighting someone more serious of talent. The guy is bigger than Jake Paul too, wingspan wise, height. So I mean, Jake Paul seems like he can fight, but this might be a tough one for him. I think he lost the fight with this guy. What's his name? The guy that his dad told him he'd get kicked out the family if he loses. Tommy Fury. Jake Paul can somebody who took up this the skill um very late in life, but pretty decent boxing skill. Hyper scalping and scalping is not. I don't think it's the same thing. I'm actually not really seeing a ton of bad comments. Um, yeah, laptop legend, pretty crazy trader. These guys are insane, man. Laptop legend, Ross obviously, Jack Kellogg, some of these. Steven Dux is pretty crazy too. That guy is insane. But I think Ross, the thing I don't know, man. I think the thing I like about Ross is that like you can go and just see what Ross is doing any day, anytime. Whilst he doesn't live stream anymore, he still posts the recap. For me, I haven't been posting recaps, but I'm here live streaming, right? There's still that transparency there. Like the other guys will probably post a recap once a month to kind of show you how the month went. There's that guy, Umar. Umar is like insane too, the options guy. Man, there's a lot of people who are unknown traders without like a platform, who are obviously really good as well. You see it even on Twitter. A lot of guys. He's going to sleep. Bro, pre-market, I don't know, man. Like I just the money, the 6,000 that I lost, by the way, was all pre-market. In July, August, September, or maybe August, September, October. Those 3 months are like pre-market. Like I don't know, man. Pre-market, holding longer is definitely the way to go. But I've still had issues connecting on stocks. Like gaining the rhythm seems much harder for me to do relative to the open. The only issue I'm having in the open is just execution issues. Like if people are able to see it into my mind, into my head, they'll like they'll go mad of like, holy shit, like this guy is already like it's like you're basically greed and it's just executing, right, is the problem. Right, take it like I mentioned there, okay, I'm gonna push my size to take 5,000 shares on a $2 stock, which is like nothing. It should be nothing, but instead it's I'm there, my heart is racing in a trade, which is things I haven't felt in so long. Like I haven't felt, going back to like hyper scalping every day with size in some of those key trades, I haven't felt that kind of way. It's not that you're I mean everyone kind of knows that feeling, right? If you're somewhat pushing yourself at the comfort zone at the edge of the limits. So for that type of size on in that context and me feeling that way is kind of crazy. Um, right, Umar. Some people calling Umar a fake trader. Oh man, I would hope not. Yeah, Maras is pretty good, I think. The thing with Maras that's also good is the transparency. Anybody who's posting every day, bro, that's the key. Posting every day or live streaming or recaps. These people for what? I mean, you can only go off of what you can see. And I remember I was telling this girl this, right? Like this is a friend I have. I was telling her that even as somebody who is a trader that's on social media, when I look at everybody else, I can't always tell who is real and who's not. As somebody who does this, you know? So for all of us who are the consumers, because we're all consumers at the end of the day of other people, we have to make sure to do our due diligence. Um, I mean, I'd be surprised for some people because they seem so transparent. Like if they're like fake, it'll be kind of like tough. And obviously with AI and like photoshopping and things like that, it can get even worse, right? The AI stuff is crazy. The videos it's able to generate in such a short time, but hopefully, we're still able to tell what's real and what's not, because that could be pretty bad for us. And it seems like it's this, I don't know, bro. It's crazy. Like when I show people, if I pull up, I'm gonna pull up a video, right, and show you guys something. I want to show you guys the tally. I want to show you guys the tally in the chat room at the end of last year. Granted that this year we've taken a bit of a pullback, right? Like this, bro. I don't care. Like this community is by far the best community. Like it's not even close. I don't think it's close at all because of the transparency of myself, Marcelo, the team house guys by extension who will share what they're doing. They don't even have to, and they still share. We've had countless times where guys came in and shown us a recap of their day, showing us the live archive of a crazy trade they took. where else on earth can you see this type of stuff? Unless Ross decides to go live and show us something, you know? Unless it's that, we're not really seeing much. Damn, what's the dang? What's the name of this video, bro? Holy smokes! Um, hmm. Well, I can't find it. I guess I can go back through. All right, hold up. I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. And this video basically has the chat room with everyone's results. January. Bro, where's the? Okay, there it is. Theater mode. Theater mode. Theater mode. Big Steve, bro. Holy shit. Big Steve, the monster. Big Steve. This is the chat room. Hold up. Yeah, this is the chat room. Pretty much at like the end of last year. The chat room was going insane. Okay, Relentless. Okay. Okay. All right. We're gonna skip through this kind of quick, but Cursey, man. There's some people I haven't seen in a while too. Who is this? D Trades. D Trades. Nice year there. This is back when Cactus Rob would post, man. Cactus, where are you right now? Jackson, 299. Bro, look at those monster days, bro. Holy smokes. 42K. Bro, I'm telling you guys, bro, like our strategy completely got nuked. This year $1 million would have been guaranteed. Guaranteed money. The students cooking, bro. Holy smokes. We are some insane stuff. Save 30K day, 7K, 6K, 7K. Beam, classy beam, 500,000. Bro, talk to this community nicely. Big Steve, 182. Look at the equity curve there, bro. Holy smokes. The hyper scalping strategy generating millions of dollars, bro. Big Tim, 1M on the year. 1M. The chat room in the moon. Let's keep going. The monster Save. 1.3M. Bro, this chat room is the craziest chat room you'll see. Minty, quarter milli. Dynasty, 234. Dynasty was out for revenge this year, right? Probably trying to get a little bit more than the younger bro. These guys are two brothers that trade in the same living room, man. Same office space. Crazy. So basically 500K for that household there. Hey, Glumford, I still gotta hang out with this guy who lives close to me. I never hung out with this guy yet. Gotta Figure something out one of these days. Although now's the holidays, though. I don't. I mean, with these amount of trades, this is definitely hyper scalping, but I don't think he hyper scalps anymore. Just more slower scalping now. Odin, bro, talk to the chat room nicely, bro. J, smaller green, but equity curve uptrending there. So I think obviously, not only for myself but for like the entire community who has been hyper. A lot of us here are obviously hyper scalpers. There's been some people who have been doing longer holds. That's been their style. They haven't had to adjust. But I think for all the hyper scalpers, you're gonna see a massive decrease in numbers for those numbers to then go back up into the new year. Why? Because there was a slowdown adjustment, things like that. Um, let's see. What else do we have? We got the cactus right there, raking in some nice gains. Calamity. Shout out to Calamity, man. We don't talk about Drew enough. Drew, by the way, this guy is the first Team House member to cross over 1 million since back in like 2021. This guy has already been big timer dialing it in. The Green Dream, Calamari, the Green Dream. Dynamo. This guy probably maybe one of him. There's been some crazy traders in here. Obviously, Save, Dynamo, Crispy. Um, High on stocks was really insane too. That was the guy that was doing the 30K day. What's his name, man? Hey, Pachito, bro. Holy smoke. There's been some insane traders, man. There's been guys who they post like 50K a day every day, like normal. There's some insane. I mean, again, you look on Trader on Twitter. There's a lot of guys who are kind enough to share their P&L, their progress. Again, we mentioned some of the big names, right? The laptop legend, guys like that. Maraz, Ross, obviously here on YouTube. But there's some insane traders who don't live stream or post anything, like in terms of like recaps, stuff like that. We've had some insane guys, and shout out to Vegito because when he was doing his 30, 40K a day, this guy was so kind enough to like. There's like 50 people listening to the voice channel as this guy's talking through his entire day of trading for 5 hours straight, in which he made like 10 plus thousand. I mean, this community, bro, like who else, bro? Where else? There is no other community doing this type of madness. So I think even with the slowdown in hyper scalping into the new year, as everybody continue to work, the numbers are gonna go back up. So MIG was down 11K. A red P&L there. Also, for the people who are red, because there had to have been more people who were red, right? You can't be afraid to share the P&L. Oliver, bro, and all these purple names are students. So the community was overwhelmingly green. Mighty Putty. This guy here, man, I taught, and the thing is with the community, so many of these people, almost all of them, like 90% of these people I spoke to on a FaceTime for at least like 20 minutes. This is also one of those guys who I talk to every now and again. He's no longer the community though. He's, kind of did his own thing after choosing violence here. This is back when we had the memes. What was it called? The GIFs. This guy was like abusing the GIFs, and we gave him 2 warnings, and he did his. But again, I even revoked the ban. Someone banned him. I revoked it. I'm like, yo, I know this guy. This guy is pretty cool. And then the guy still does the same craziness. But yeah, Mighty Putty, man. Shout out to him in one of those southern states, doing really well. And when I spoke to him on the FaceTime, he's in a warehouse. If you see the amount of boxes, this guy is insane. Like he's trading in the warehouse, working, and there's like just a sea of boxes behind him. I'm like, what's going on, bro? Time to go full time, right? And I think he did end up going full time. Mighty Buddy dialing it in. 52 bands in 1 week. Nice day right here. 15-7. Yeah, bro. December, October, November, December were some crazy months. And yo, shout out to Dash, man, who had went green last year, and this year really like opened up. It's insane to see all the progress here, man. From 11K P&L to insane P&L now. Starting off half the year red, and then going back to Andy. Yo, shout out to Andy, bro. Andy, also another cool trader. Yeah, we visited AZ, checked him out. He's a pretty cool guy. Andy was also nice enough to do an interview. There's a lot of students that didn't want to do interviews. By the way, this is Shay, man. Where's Shay? Where's Shay right now? Shay, if you're watching on, where are you? I think it's been like a good 3 weeks. Hopefully she's doing all right physically, mentally. Sometimes in trading things, at the end of the day, this is the real world, right? Like things do happen to people outside of trading. Sometimes you can be in the hospital for a couple of weeks, things. So hopefully everything is all right. Um, and this day for me was a messy day, man. This is a messy day. This was last year, insane, um, insane momentum in some of those like last couple of months. Do I have? Do I have? I mean, I can kind of pull it up now too, but October, November, December. The November month for me was pretty insane as well. Let's see, is it up here or is it already past November? Yeah, November here. So like this week, what did we have? Minus 1,200, minus 900, plus 500. Down like 1,500 on a week. And you know what I'm saying to people, like we've seen some insane stuff already to where we kind of let the risk go a little out of hand, but it's like it doesn't really affect us really financially. Obviously, you don't want to be down that amount every day. You don't want to be down at all, right? You want to be in the green. But the pastor has seen some insane stuff. Man, Mighty Putty. I let Mighty Putty beat me on this week, bro. 52-44. I had some issues last year leaving early, bro. Like, especially in February month. I think there's one of those days I could have made an extra 10,000, like, and I'm outside shoveling snow like some fool. That was the Thursday or Friday of that second week in February, or the third week. We ended up having like a snowstorm over here in the Northeast. Funny enough, we had snow here 2 days ago. And this is honestly not that many trades, even for hyper scalping. You really, on these days, you really want to be at like 400 trades, trading even more, even longer, staying the entire day and going all the way to the close. To the close, to the moon. So, in after this year, we were thinking like, yeah, man, into this new year. And then we mastered, or not mastered, but we were close to getting into that place where we'd size up even more into the key setups. That was like end of January, and then basically like 2 more weeks of hyper scalping, and then we kind of started seeing signs. The first sign was Thinkorswim. If you guys recall, they started restricting certain stocks. Certain stocks became untradeable out of nowhere. That was the first sign of it, right? Out of the blue, we couldn't trade certain stocks. And then the second thing that they started to do, some stocks you could trade. However, you're limited to the buying power in your account. So, AKA on that particular stock, you'll have a cash account kind of a thing going on. Once you run out of your, money, you're done on that stock. That's like their second attempt of like, hey, we need to like, start banning people essentially. There's the third thing that they did. I'm forgetting what it was. But let's see. Some stocks not tradable. The non-marginable stocks thing. There was something else. And then we just started hearing people pretty much saying, "Hey, like my account is no longer working." Even the day for me, like I took a trade. I'm thinking, okay, there's maybe some stocks not tradable here, and then I checked the chat room to see everybody's still trading the stock. I'm like, wait, but what's going on? Obviously, for me too, like the slower year, I wasn't thinking like my account would get banned, but then it did. It's been a messy year overall, and all that type of stuff like that. It's been quite the year. Quite the year. I wonder how Raphael is doing, man. There's been some traders over the years, wrong bet, Raphael. A couple of names come to mind for sure. Hopefully, these people are doing all right in whatever they're doing now. Some of them more than likely are still trading. I know Raphael had a daughter, and he kind of like slowed down a little bit, being more in tune with like parenting. Since then, I think he was like taking like less trades. This guy is a short seller from way back when in the community, probably like the only short seller at that time. Back when the community was much smaller. But anyhow, after the 10,000 year rant here, I'm going to shut it down. I didn't ban anybody on the YouTube stream. I kind of didn't really see any crazy comments. The mighty calling a 6K day, bro. That you know what, Matt? I'm telling you guys, bro. We're on the verge of like. I mean, just look at those numbers there that we just showed, right? Like we're on the verge of just madness. Like there's a day, like Marcelo and I, we had a call, and we're looking at the chat, like, bro, this is insane. Like, how did we get so blessed to have such a good community? We're like just in like, just insane. Like we just couldn't. We didn't even have the words. Because back then the mighty would see 30K days like almost like once a week. Once a week, the mighty was hitting a 30K day. You know, man. Ay ay ay. Uh, what stocks did Ross trade today? Ronald, is Ronald somebody that needs to get banned? I don't know what Ross traded today. Yeah, but a 6K day was a base hit, bro. Seen a lot come and go since 2021. Yeah, if I look back at some of the live streams at like 2022, 2023, the names in the comments is like a whole different set of people, right? There's only a few people who are like still here as like real OG traders. Crystal Ball has been around for a long time as well. Yeah, Dash, Big Steve, if you guys spot anybody as well, you can always feel free to send them to the depths. If you're ever like finished with trading and like kind of watching at the chat a little bit. Jay saying love the rants. What? All right, okay, let me ban a couple of people here. Look at this guy's name. With just this name alone, deserves to get sent Titanic. Bro, what is wrong with some people? Who sits down and creates a name like that? Of course, I'm not even gonna say the name here, but like this person took the time to create a YouTube account and put that as his name. Like, what are you doing with your life, bro? 1 minute trader. Reach out to Tim in the chat. I mean, I don't know if Tim posted in the chat room. I think he did. I think yeah. Tim. Tim is a long term investor, man. Doing it the right way on the stocks the companies he believe in. Yeah, sadly, some of the people that you ban, they just create another account and then they come again. What I don't understand with the people that do this type of stuff, though, it's like it's time that they're taking out of their day when they could be doing something else. Like there's an opportunity cost, right? They're on this live stream with a name that's not their real name, which means they're not going to get any sort of real recognition for who they are. And it's time they could have been doing whatever else in life, starting a family, building a business, doing whatever. Instead, it's like, okay, let me create this random name, go on this random live stream and say random stuff that nobody's going to remember in the next 2 minutes. Like once this conversation goes into wherever the rant goes, that person is now lost in the abyss forever, you know? I don't know. It seems like a poor way to be spending time because time we do not get back. Time we do not get back. Time we do not get back. Someone saying, hey, RT, what's up? What's up? Yeah, I'm gonna shut it down here. No questions really coming in. So for the people asking me how much I'm up, I'm not saying anything because the numbers on the screen. I mean, if I don't know what else I can do. Maybe I need to put it. Maybe I need to put it like this, and it like really enlarge everything. I don't know. Can we get that angle there? Maybe I have to go like this to show people how much I'm up, and then enlarge this one the same amount. Like this. By the way, here's the red streak on this account. Let's show you guys. So on this month on my Webull account, take a look at these losses. So between the two accounts, this account is down 2.3k or 3k from the highs. And this month in this account, this is all those hyper scalping stocks, by the way. 228, 119, 266, where I've been green most of the times, and the other, well, not most of the times, a good amount of the times in the other account have been red here. So this account kind of took most of the losses over the last like week and a half of trading relative to the other account. This has kind of been like a little tough for me because the hyper scalping stocks, which I'm like usually bread and butter, And you can see the one today I didn't even trade it. Obviously the day kind of like transpired. So I'm like, you know what? It doesn't even make sense to like push forward on that one. So this account, can we do 1 month? It's down like 3K here. Let me see the. I want to see how can I get the how can I get the equity curve from. Okay, there it is. This is it. This is it right here. So we had highs of 1K. If we add that on to this 2.8 drawdown, it's like a 3.8 drawdown from the small green that we had when we started the account. And it's been 3 big red days, mostly. 800 here. How do I get to the calendar of the other month? Okay, there we go. And then this 666, and then this 988. So 9 times 2 is 18. My banker is calling me here. Hold on, let me message him real quick. My banker is calling me. Why? Why is my banker calling me? Hopefully for good news. I hope. Good news, I hope. Yeah, so this account, we had some bigger red days here. 662, 988, and then this month, these 2 days, which has been the bulk of the losses. So it's time for some big green days to start hitting this account here. Like this is down kind of a good amount. 3K off the highs is a little too much. So I've been a little frustrated about this account. The hyper scalping stocks, the halts going up. We've had some areas where we needed to take the trades. Again, there's always that balance of things, right? Like when you have a setup that offers 3 entries, you need to be in all 3 times and not just one, or even not at all, because then you miss the opportunity of being green in those trades. So we had days where we saw good opportunities, didn't take it, and then the trades you finally jump in on, rightfully so, because that's the right thing the market needs to do to you to teach you the lesson, right? Which is, all right, you want to wait for the fourth time, all right, the fourth time is the time we're going to take the depths and flush down. So yesterday, I think the other account were read like 400, which was our biggest loss in the other account also in a long time. This account we're not really taking losses on for the most part, but yesterday we had a big loss. So this will like bring it back slightly above yesterday's level. Honestly, this makes it so easy to show the calendar compared to, like DAS, which if you don't import is kind of an issue. But yeah. Date 11/19 to 12/19, almost 1 month exactly here. Big red days have to be avoided at all cost. I think one of these days was a bigger flush out on a penny stock, and the other days are just like, kind of a little mismanaging of risk. A little bit of mismanagement of risk. Days like this coming back over trading, doubling the loss in the account from 250 to then 521. Big Steve will take 1% of that blame there, but the pastor not locking it in on some setups. PCSA looks like it's finished. I don't know. It's the type of stock where I feel like it's kind of ran its course, and anything that's left here is like, you know, for anything that's left here is like for the like the people who are like really trying at those dips. Yesterday I didn't trade yesterday because I was feeling a little under the weather. My voice was a little raspy, and so I'm like, you know what? Well, we're kind of like out of whack here. Yeah, our voice yesterday was a little raspy, so we're like just taking it easy. I didn't have a great day of trading, I'd say. The live stream, I don't know, like when I'm on the live stream, I think I trade better. Even like I trade even better because I'm talking to myself more, like giving more call outs to myself. You know, it lets you visualize the trades even better and manage the risk even better. This is like a slow bleed in this account, which is I don't this it's not gonna continue, but it has happened, which hasn't been good. So if you look at my equity curve to gauge where I'm at completely, if you look at my equity curve on Thinkorswim before my account is closed down, and then this account here, the other account. So I mentioned in the other account I had a 6K loss over 2 months in pre-market. So 6K and then 3K here is 9K. On top of the equity curve, let's pull it up, Trader View. It's like despite importing the trades, I know I can import for Webull to Trader View. I can do it at any time. There's this calendar right here, but I can still do it to Trader View at any time. The only issue is gonna be getting the Guardian trades. It's probably not gonna be an issue. I still haven't looked at it yet, but it's probably not gonna be an issue. It's more than likely pretty simple to do. Hopefully there's a way to bulk import. Equity curve, which is win loss expectation. The last import for Trader View was for October. And let's just check the calendar just to make sure. I think the gap was January. It was July and August. Yeah. So July and August is where I pretty much like lost 3K here, lost 3K here over these like 2 months. And then this month and this month we have to import for Webull and then Guardian as well. So that will kind of bring us to look at the equity curve, it'll be for like where we are today exactly. We've had a lot of red days for sure, but it's why I'm telling the people we haven't really lost a lot of money, in the overall grand scheme of our account value. So it'll be this amount here minus 10,000. So 70 from 78 to 68 pretty much in the equity curve right here. Yeah, I think that math makes sense. And that will put me a little past the lows actually of the biggest drawdown. Let's come over. We ended at 3,800 or 3,400, or pretty much at 14,000, which is slightly below this level here for our biggest drawdown. I've only been feeling good recently. But we have to overcome the mental side of things again, of taking more size, being more aggressive in the areas that we're seeing working, and not being a bystander on the sidelines. So that trade today was a very good example of that. But we're up. So this is how the day will look, right? When we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing. Granted, there are still going to be days where you do everything right, you're still kind of end red, but what's going to happen is that there's going to be more balance in things, right? So today on YCBD, we did a good job kind of waiting to find the hot stock, and we took all of these setups very well. Let's see. When I first saw the stock, I threw out a starter right here. Granted, okay, I'm now pulling it up. I'll give myself some slack in just this trade only. I now pulled it up, and I threw out 700 shares here in almost bottom ticking this candlestick. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to watch to see if we can get the red to green. We're in at 11. We're selling, or we're in at like 12, 13. Let's see. Let me come down here. I'll tell you exactly. We're in at 14, and we're selling at 20. Right? Like, look at this trade here. This is what the difference is going to be over time, right? We're in here at 14, we're out at 20. Some trades coming out at 27 and 31. The stock ended up giving this bigger wick in the candlestick, which I didn't even expect. So we pushed all the way to 38, and then I took the dip here again at 20 now, in at 23, 24, and we're selling. You can see we're in with a little bit more size, not that much more, but this is the trade where I need to start with way more aggression. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is like 1,700 shares, maybe 2,000 shares if we add all of this up. But these are the areas where I need to be in more aggressively, right? Like, hey, we're holding up. This is where the stocks kind of started to go, right? We sell some at 28, 31, 31, 34, 34, 28, 28, and kind of the rest at 30, 31. Then we again, this right here is the same exact setup, right? Like this, there's no reason to be in here with what seems to be 900, 1,200, like 1,400. I think I didn't get filled one of the positions, but this is only like a 12 to 1,400 share position here. This trade needs to be with the risk in this trade is about 4 cents to 5 cents max. I need to be in here like 8,000 shares. And there are going to be days where you take this with the size and it does come down, yeah. And even you get some slippage. But this is where the difference is going to happen, right? Because on any stock that's strong, we're gonna always see the follow through, And this one was strong up until we got to that 40 level. So it's another trade we're in. We remember, if you guys recall, we said, hey, we're gonna try to add for the break of 30. We added, it didn't go right away. We ended up stopping out. We lost on 2 breakout trades. So this is the second one. We tried again and took another loss, right? So that put us from being up like 3. I think we went from up 330 to green 180, something like that. Then we tried it again. Again, size, look at the size here. Way too small, 600, 500. And then, a couple more. So this is like another 1,200 share position, which is just not big enough. And we're doing the right thing here, which is to give it that chance to break through 30 and taking profits into the highs. But we needed more size. So, if we look at the 2 losses on the breakout, we lost 3 cents on this trade. Pay attention to the size here. And this is like a flaw in my trading from when we're hyper scalping and I'm so much more comfortable taking size on breakout trades, right? So I have more size in this breakout trade than any trade to this point. And it's not a bad trade because, we're seeing that, hey, we're getting that chance to get through 30. And if we do it, we can easily open up to 40. But the trade with size comes and we take a 3 cent loss. And then we try it again here. Okay, a little less size. We take a 5 cent loss. So between these three trades, we lost 8 cents, 3 cents. This one a little bigger. We should have been out a little faster here. Granted, we're looking for that breakout trade. I think this is a little bit of a late sell here. We needed to keep this one more tight, even if the size is smaller. So back in here, 21, 24. We needed a little bit more size in this trade. This is where we should have already had that 4,000, 5,000 share position, because we've held this level up now for like a third time, our second, third time. We got to take it with more size. The sell is really good. We just needed more of a heavy position there. We push up to 46. I recognize that we're holding a little tighter in the range, but I'm not going to lie. I wanted lower, so I wasn't as comfortable here. So I ended up selling half, like flat. And this is where I finally like mustered up the courage to take the size, which is now like the fifth setup in the day, right? And I'm in 5,000 shares here, finally taking some size. And we get and then too, this trade doesn't actually work. Is this let's see, what's the time? 57. We got up to, let's see, hold up, 10, 957, 9, let's see, lows of 30, of lows of 29, and we had a high of 40. So, we came down, and all this is in this consolidation. Let me pull up my drawing tool actually. That way I can like put it more clean, right? Here it is. We had this flag right here. Right? So as usual at every consolidation, right? It's a sideways trend. Are we going to go up or are we going to go down? Right? And so we did have lower highs initially here, but we had, essentially higher lows as well. And so when we held up 30 on this attempt down here, I'm in and essentially holding to see how high we can go. We had resistance up at the level of 40. And why does it seem a little out of whack, right? Hold up. Okay, let me see something here. 10 seconds, 1 minute. Yeah, we had okay, there we had a low. The previous low was 32. So we broke down, we reclaimed, and we curled back up here over time. We sold 3 minutes later, which is into the high of this candlestick here. But, we broke 43 and we didn't sell immediately because we're like, hey, there's a chance that this thing can retest 46 and make a new high. And so right here, we didn't sell. It's like we're selling into this candlestick. We held for 3 minutes. So we sold at 39.40 area, and we had a trailing stop at 35 because after this nice red to green, the 1 minute candle made the new high right here. There's no reason for us not to, push through, especially after breaking down by 2-3 cents and reclaiming this setup. We need to curl up here and like go all the way. Even if this red candle comes, it needs to be a tight red candle that ends like right here. Next candlestick comes, that's green, and we go up. We try again, and we finally break out. So to me, like once this coming down here is where it's like, all right, I just don't want to be back in again, man. But it held up again. It came down again. So let's put a circle right here, circle right here, circle right here. It held up again. And they're thinking, okay, this time it has to go this time, right? Into the new high. Such a bad arrow. And then it does nothing. Instead, it's back down again. And sells off here into new lows. And this is why short sellers are doing so well, because you have a stock that gave a good move, and then once we couldn't get through the resistance, this thing is now down here 215 and just stair stepping down lower, 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 lower. So we did a good job taking size here. after not taking size, not taking size, and not taking size here, we finally took some size, and the setup was short-lived. Again, you got to already be proactive in the earlier setups to where you already have size in this trade. You're catching this type of follow through on the move here, right? The earlier, the better, if the stock is going to be that kind of a strong stock. That's the issue we have right now, which is giving us a discrepancy in our P&L, right? On any slower moving stock, that's the key for us. On hyper scalping stocks, right now the key is mental, especially, is to just go for the trades that we know and love to work. No hesitation, not just being in awe that a stock can move fast again, but instead, hey, we've already seen this a million times last year. Take every single trade that you see that works all the time in those type of stocks, And the very moment we do those two things is the very moment we start to see basically green every day, green, 4 or 5 times a week, every time. So we sold 35. We got like 1 cent slippage there coming out. So we only got 1100, 900, only about half the position really at, or this is maybe even a little less than half at the highs of 39. And then, we kind of didn't really push up from there. We tried a breakout trade again. Look at this breakout trade, right? We tried a breakout trade again and stopped out for what? A 4 cent loss. And again, these trades are okay, but this, the way how the stocks are moving slower, this has to be reserved. This right here has to be reserved for the hyper scalping kind of a move, which would come on a stock like PCSA. This trade should never be taken on this stock. Even though the setup did look good in those areas, it's just too risky because of the time factor. Like it's not going to be instant ever, really. Maybe once in a while. And it's just not worth the risk because the breakout trade has to go in that moment. Okay, I'm in at 42. We better be seeing 45, 48, 50. And if we're not, then it's just too risky holding there in case it does retrace the entire way back down. So holding on realized like 5 cents in a breakout trade is not worth the risk of what the breakout trade should be. So on the right stocks, we have to execute the right way. There's, in my opinion, 2 types of stocks right now. There's either the hyper scalping, quick halts going up, or slow, boring, waiting a few, 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time to see the setup play out kind of a move. And you have to decipher. I mean, it's not hard to decipher. The moment we see it, we can know, but you got to not have these mistakes of taking the in-between trades to avoid those. So we had 8 cents earlier, 3 cents, 5 cents, and now right here again, another 4 cents on a total of about, so let's say that's 10 cents or 12 cents on a total of at least 6,000 shares, which could have been avoided. That alone would have put us over 1K. It's like half the gains gone on those 3 or 4 trades, which it can be avoided if we're doing everything the right way all the way, which is hey, it's not worth the risk on this type of stock. So let me see what you guys are saying here. I kind of was giving some explanation here. How long before I notice a change in my trading in terms of becoming profitable? I think like almost like 1 year in, I was seeing progress, which is the thing that gave me the motivation to keep going. But it wasn't up until like a year in where I really felt like I'm starting to get there for sure. It took some time, and a lot of that is because I wasn't trading in a cash account or a simulator. I was trading with a PDT balance of like, what am I saying? I'm trading an account that was subject to the PDT. It wasn't a cash account. It was a margin account below 25K. So I was taking 3 trades every 5 days, which, just ignorance at the time, not knowing. If I had known, I should have just been in a cash account where I could trade way more and have much of a quicker learning curve. So after year 1 of doing that nonsense, year 2 is where I went into the sim. And almost immediately after like 1 month of taking way more, in 1 month I took more trades than I did all year because of that 3 trades every 5 days nonsense. And in 1 month, it's like I started to see some quicker progress. I'm like, okay, at this rate, it's only a matter of time. And then, after a year in the sim, October is what, the 7th, 8th month, or 9th, 10th month. October is like the 10th month. By October, I was feeling very good. I became, in August and September, I became green gross before commissions and fees. Back then, every platform had commissions, no matter what platform it was. TD, Ameritrade, Schwab, everybody had $6.95 in, $6.95 out. So in the simulator, I became green gross. And the next step became, okay, we're going to work on now being green, including the commissions and fees. And I kid you not, literally, that was like a Friday. Literally, like that Monday, I wake up to commissions now 0. In October, is that 2019, 2020? I think 2020, October 2020. No. October 2019. Is it 2019? When did I go live? I went May 1st of 2020, I think. So this had to have been October 2019. We've been trading for a while, bro. How long is that? Like 6, 7 years? Holy smokes. Granted, again, the first year, we're kind of like not really all the way there. We're trading on Robinhood as well. I remember being in classes at the time. And I was in accounting class watching stocks go up on Robinhood. So like 2018 wasn't really like real trading. I'd say 2019 was more so like really being there. And then, so in like 10 months, with the experience from the prior year, commissions went to 0. And that day, October, whatever that day was, October 1st, whatever, was the day I started saving up for PDT, because I'm like, well, commissions are gone. There's no need to like now keep working on being green with commissions. So I'm like, I just need to double down on what I'm doing and maybe just take even more trades and more size and, kind of go from there. And saving honestly wasn't really an option. So I like borrowed the 30K through credit cards. One of my siblings took out like 17K on one of his credit cards. I took out whatever I could take out on my credit card. Another sibling gave me 5K cash, and I had 2K 500 of my own money saved up at the time, I think. What was I was working at Home Depot back then. I used to sell water. I used to do a bunch of stuff like that. So my account balance was 27,500, and I told myself if I lose the 2,500 and I go to 25K, then my account challenge here is pretty much done, because I don't want to lose any of the real borrowed money. My income is low at the time. That kind of money is a lot of money, especially that time, if you want to say, for like the average person who's now trying to come up in life. So if I lost the 2,500 off the top, then it just, it didn't make any sense to keep going. It'd have been too risky. So we started, and I think our first month was plus 4K or something, which was, pretty good. And we kept going from there. The only issue I had, after 1 year, I think I made like, I think I pretty much made like 25,000. And I didn't pay back the loan. That was like the only like really bump in the road. Instead of paying back the loan, I'm like, yo, one of my siblings, he's also trading. His stats in the sim looks pretty good. So we just funded his account straight. And he did not, have a smooth experience. So we're kind of stuck. We're kind of stuck paying back the We're like stuck paying back the. Granted, I mean, 16K of that money was his anyways to begin with, right? Which is pretty much for 25K if you look at it like that, like that. But we're like stuck paying back the loan with the interest, which you don't want to be in that situation. Like there was like an APR to most of these credit cards where we had like a 10-month period or like a 12-month period before the real payment started. Bro, once these payments started, man, like, oh my gosh. I think at that time I'm working at Amazon by then. The payments were killing us, man. That was a rough experience. Because Amazon Pay, I think back then we weren't even getting overtime just yet. This is like slightly before the pandemic started. So the work there was kind of slow. When the pandemic started, Amazon did really well because people just started ordering packages. They didn't want to leave their houses. So the overtime came there, which really helped out. And then that way I was able to I was making 1K a week back then at Amazon, which helped to pay some of the high interest loan. That was not a fun experience. So this is like 2021, 2022. It's crazy how much things can change in a short amount of time though, because back then we're like literally as frugal as can be, hand to mouth, not doing anything that will cost us money. I think we only did I think we did, we did do a vacation that time to Mexico. I think that was like the only thing we really did. I am seeing YCBD here, but I, I don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, somebody was saying buy 30K of YCBD. You have a crystal ball that I do not have right now. I'm locking in the gains, especially after 2 rough days. We're taking the small win here. But yeah, we finally paid off the loan at the end of 2022. In November and December, we made the last payments towards the loan. Taking the trading gains, the money from Amazon, and that definitely set us up for 2023, having that weight lifted off our shoulders. So 2023, it was naturally a hotter market, and it was naturally a little easier to take on a little bit more size, which is why I'm telling you guys right now, I can't believe I'm not taking even more size, right? Because I don't have that baggage of the loan. I guess there is some baggage of like inconsistency though, right? Which is what I think is kind of like having us hesitate in some areas. When you're doing well almost every day, it's very easy to just throw any kind of size. It almost feels like you can't do any wrong. Anything you do will work at any time. Beyond, I hope you have that 30K position down there, 210, and scaling out some size right now into the highs, brother. Hopefully you caught a nice one in there. I don't know if I pull this back right here. I mean, it's kind of tough to say this would have went, but that intuition that you have there, or whatever, whether it might be fundamental with the news or something else, is definitely a good call on your side. So hopefully you got a nice trade in there. We go back a couple candlesticks here. I'm not able to see this kind of move coming. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good red to green over the VWAP, and then we're back below the VWAP. There's an explosion here in volume too. If we look at the volume here compared to the first retest of VWAP, we're getting some better volume. Not high of day volume though, which is worth mentioning. So question here, right? Will short sellers take positions against high of day again here? What do you got what do you have happening next year, beyond? You're thinking over 50 is gonna happen, or short sellers hammer this thing back down? I mean, it does look pretty healthy, I'll say. It looks healthy here. I'm not gonna take any trades, but I'll stick around for 10 more minutes just to watch on the sidelines. Hopefully, I'm rooting for it to go as a long bias trader, but if the short sellers do push it back down, I wouldn't be super surprised. Of course, for anybody else on YouTube and the live stream, always still have your own hypothesis, your own research, your own technical analysis. I'm gonna go make breakfast after this. So I've only been eating whole foods. So the menu is green plantains, green plantanos. We got eggs and sausage. That's the menu with a cup of hot chocolate. Oil, we're only going to be using coconut oil. I got to go buy some. I got to go food shopping actually here. I got to do some food shopping for the house here for Christmas here. Maybe today, tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Maybe Friday night, early 6 p.m. I got to go get some stuff. Trying to eat clean, man. Like, the corn oil and seed oil is trying to avoid that type of stuff. Eating out is always tough because they don't use any good oil. They'll only put the corn oil in there. The canola oil, which is processed oil, not really good for the body over an extended period of time. We do eat white rice here. We'll use white rice for fried. If we're making fried rice, we use white rice, which is like once every 2 weeks maybe. But we're using brown rice most of the times. You're waiting till 3 p.m. to see this move. Oh, fasting actually. Okay, fasting till 3 p.m. Trying to get a little slimmer. Yeah, my father's like that, man. I don't know how people can do it, but I, once it gets around this time, 12 o'clock, it's time for me. I've been doing more like 2 heavy meals a day rather than the 3 conventional meals. So I'll eat a heavy meal here. I eat like 3 or 4 eggs one time, which is, some people say it's a lot. I mean, I guess it depends, right? I'm in the gym most days. I guess it's somewhat a lot, but for me, it seems like just enough. I'm not sure how much Ross is up today. There's usually this thing that comes across the screen. I missed it when it came. MGRT, the volume is lighter. It's halted down, I believe. Yeah, eating clean, man, is a pretty big part of life. When you go into grocery stores now, there's everything on the aisle that you look at, right? If you go past like the vegetables and things like that, even some of those are genetically modified. And a lot of the oranges, you're not seeing any seeds. It's kind of messy, but especially when you go to like the bread aisle and you look at the ingredients. There's just so many things in this, on the back of it, and that's like most items right now. So just trying to keep it simple, trying to keep it as clean as possible, trying to avoid fast food at all cost. It does happen from time to time, but rarely. It's more like once in a blue moon. I really have to be thrown off my schedule to like eat something like McDonald's. Like I have to be on a road trip kind of thing, and like that's the only thing at the rest stop. If not, chicken and rice, something like that. Vegetables on the side, keeping it simple. Um, we got Weeble, we got um Guardian, we have Sage, and we also have E Trade. Those are the four platforms that we have at our disposal right now. Guardian and Sage are basically the same, as they're both utilizing the DAS Trader software. And then you have um, Weeble. It's not Thinkorswim. It's not Thinkorswim, right? It's different, obviously, but there's some good things about it. I'd say. It's good. It's a good platform. Let's just say it like that. It is a good platform. The hotkeys, if you don't connect DAS to Thinkorswim, Weeble has better hotkeys than Thinkorswim, like pound for pound, without DAS being included. David, it's been nice knowing you, brother. Time to send you to the Titanic. To the Titanic. I know you're only expressing your First Amendment right, or whatever amendment it is. But for me, it is disrespect, brother. So I will smile and send you to the gallows. Nice and softly. Yeah, Weeble is a solid platform. I don't have any complaints so far, actually. Yeah, Weeble, and honestly, when I was on Thinkorswim, it's like for some reason you kind of fall into thinking Thinkorswim is the only platform. But then when you try out the other platforms, it's like, wow, okay. It's like a pleasant surprise. But Sage, Guardian, Weeble, Thinkorswim, those are the platforms I like right now. I have at my disposal that I use. All the other ones right now, as in like the light speeds and the Cobra trading and the this and the that. For me, I don't need to get it too complicated and have too many. And then the next thing is to, for each platform you use, more than likely you're gonna put 25K, and I rather keep most of that stuff in like my swing accounts. Like I have swing accounts, so it's best not to just keep opening up a new account all the time. Before you know, you start forgetting the passwords because there's just so much going on. So just got a couple for now, but I'll never stick to one platform only again. I think having more than one is the way to go. At least two. Yeah, I think Robinhood is good for the people who are I think Robinhood is good for the people who are like more casual traders. They're more, you know, like newer to the market, I'd say. It's good. It's a good platform to like get your feet wet and like, see a little bit of what's going on. I think that's the key for um Robinhood, and where they have their market. MGRT halting up or pushing up at least, but again, no volume on that one. My swings, bro. My swings are for me and me only. I'm very green on my swings, but I don't even mix with the day trades. Like I'm not gonna import my swings to my trader view, which some people will. I mean, if people, some people do it. I mean, it's fine if you do it, but for me, it's a swing. Swings are different account, you know. Like I'd open up a different trader view, if anything, or like a different platform. I need to stop saying trader view. What I need to be doing is using my own platform more. It's like in this beta stage where I need to be testing it out more. I gotta really and truly at some point stop using trader view altogether. Send it to the depths once and for all. But I'm gonna shut it down here. I think this is a good place to shut it down. Ay ay ay. Time to shut it down. Alright guys, for those of you going the distance, continue to be disciplined. Continue to be patient. I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe, stay green. Stay safe, stay green. Catch you guys in the next one. Tomorrow we'll ban anybody who's like, going crazy.